gimmicks. Yeah. No gimmicks, taking over, no limits. Motivation, the truth inside everything you are hearing. Reporting live, know you feel it. Wrestling is everything that we won't know what special meaning. We on it live with no gimmicks. No gimmicks.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Todd Smith here once again, alongside my tag team partner Dale Clifford out there in Fernley, Nevada. Welcome to yet another episode of No Gimmicks Podcast, broadcasting on the 3 and Out Radio Network. Dale, what is good, my man?
Well, WWE's Royal Rumble weekend was fantastic because it started with the NXT, and I think it definitely the Royal Rumble leaves us with some moments as we're on the road to WrestleMania now to talk about, and obviously the biggest one of them all is Ronda Rousey is in the WWE.
Yes, sir, indeed. So welcome to our like or dislike edition of the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for Royal Rumble 2018. So, Dale, you just mentioned it. The WWE is about to get rowdy. Ronda Rousey from the UFC has officially signed her name on the dotted line and is going to be a full-time wrestler for the WWE. Dale, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I was like, I was kind of hoping, well, a little bit. My prediction was that she was going to be in the Rumble. I'm kind of glad they held it out. Some people are upset that the moment kind of took away from Asuka. But here's the thing: is like Asuka will forever be remembered as the first woman to ever win the first Women's Royal Rumble. That's her moment. It's like she stood in the ring with Alexa, and then Ronda came out. Again, the thing that everybody needs to realize here is that WWE is about headlines. I get that there are women that have busted their butt in trying to learn wrestling to make a name for themselves, but so has Ronda. Ronda has made a name for herself outside of WWE, but it's a name. It's like, and that's the thing. It's like WWE sees the green, sees the money. It's like the big question is going to be around, can Ronda deliver in the ring?
Yes, sir. So, yeah, I mean, crossover appeal, mainstream appeal, and something, you and I were discussing prior to the show. The reason why it wasn't reported, first on WWE.com and went to ESPN.com and some of the other major news outlets is because WWE is trying to say, hey, this is a big news story that we want official news outlets to report on around the world, basically. So, yeah, so that, if you type in anything that even begins with R into a Google search bar right now, most likely Ronda Rousey's name is going to populate up there. That's what's going on. So now getting to the likes and the dislikes for the 2018 Women's Royal Rumble. Lots of surprises in this one for me. I'd say I liked it. Asuka wins. I'm happy. I'm satisfied with that. It's looking like, even though it's not official, we're going to get her versus Alexa Bliss in some way, shape, or form, possibly even with Nia Jax getting involved. So, Dale, what was your like or dislike for the Women's Royal Rumble?
Yeah, it kind of worked itself out. It was like once Ronda didn't show up, you didn't really see too many options out there of who really is going to win. You're like, all right, it makes sense. This is Asuka. She's going to take the streak into WrestleMania. And at first, it's like you're kind of like, oh, maybe she picks Charlotte, and you're like, and we get Asuka and Charlotte, which would be a fantastic match. But
right,
you kind of look at the way things are working now that Ronda showed up. You're like, all right, it was like, what kind of direction are they going to go here? It's like, because you had Alexa, Asuka, Charlotte, and Ronda all in the ring, so you figure all 4 of them are going to be involved at some way, shape, or form at WrestleMania. So if that's the case, it's like, I'm thinking WWE probably wants Ronda versus Charlotte to put their best talent in the ring, arguably best talent, because some might say that's Asuka as well. But we know that obviously it's Charlotte Flair, so you've got the name Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, and just the history that's going to go into that match at WrestleMania. And then you can put Asuka and Alexa, which has been teased on Raw for the women's title. And I don't know, we're still not 100% sure if Nia is going to make her way into that or not, because obviously we know that her relationship with Alexa. Well, so we'll all see how it shapes out. Right now, it seems like we're headed towards Alexa, Asuka, and Charlotte and Ronda.
Right, and I mean, who knows how far that feud between Ronda and Charlotte could possibly go. I mean, you and I discussed this as well. This is something that could stretch out all the way possibly until November, around the time of Survivor Series, if they choose to give us that 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen from the UFC feud. So, I mean, things could get really interesting between those two if they decide to go that direction. So now moving on here, we had Brock Lesnar, the WWE Universal Champion, taking on Kane and Braun Strowman in a triple threat for the WWE Universal title. So for this one, for me, I went dislike. It was mostly because I just thought that the weaponry which was used in the match wasn't even really used that effectively. There were some really bad botched, almost looking like table spots in this one. I just thought the match kind of had kind of an underwhelming, feel to it. It was kind of predictable with, with Braun Strowman not getting pinned and with Brock Lesnar retaining the title. Dale, what's your thoughts on this one?
Absolutely. It's like you saw a Strowman shine again, doing everything that he does. And then, as I had kind of said since day one of this match being announced, as like Kane was put into this match, obviously just kind of a history thing for him. Let him get a Royal Rumble title match, but he was put in basically to be the fall guy so that Lesnar can retain and Strowman doesn't take another pinfall to Brock.
And just like you said, Dale, yeah, I think, although we are both impressed with Strowman and how far he has come at this point in his career, he needs to kind of stretch out his moveset just a little bit more. He uses the hell out of that power slam maneuver. And in this one, things got a little snug between him and Brock. Brock kind of had to give him a receipt and teach him a lesson. Hey, son, you know what? Yeah, you might be 6'8" and almost 400 pounds, but if you need me the way you did, I'm going to lay your ass out like he did with that punch right to his jaw, right?
Ow. Yeah, that was the thing. It's like I saw the knee. I was like, man, that's a shot. It's like, and then you see Lesnar just stand straight up and punch Strowman in the face and drop Strowman. I was like, oh, I was like, I was just surprised. It's like, and to Braun's credit, is like he took it right on the chin and was able to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's like he did get dropped. I was like, I don't know if it would have been a UFC fight if Strowman would have answered the bell, but it's like because he did get dropped from it. But yeah, that definitely was the thing of Lesnar kind of being like, yeah, good knee, but way too damn hard. This is like, you don't. Let's work on that, and I'm gonna punch you for real right in the face.
And I don't know what the hell happened with that table spot where he had the table propped up over in the corner with him and Kane. It almost looks like he just kind of just fell through the table at that point in time. So maybe he hadn't quite gained his bearings back yet. But moving on here, for the WWE Raw tag titles, we had Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan taking on The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro. So for this one, for me, the only light that I really kind of came up with for this match is that hopefully with The Bar winning, this means that the end of Jason Jordan and Rollins as a tag team is coming to an end soon, very soon. Dale, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I discovered a few things about this one. They might all be connected here.
Okay. Do tell.
So we'll go to the kickoff show. Bobby Roode's open challenge was Mojo Rawley. His opponent was changed to Mojo from somebody that was put into the Royal Rumble. Jason Jordan was not in the Royal Rumble. Jason Jordan did not do very much in this tag team match. Lo and behold, found out Jason Jordan has a back injury. And that is why the titles were taken off of him. So I also feel like maybe they realized that he wasn't going to be able to go even in the Rumble. So whoever was originally supposed to be Bobby Roode's opponent in the challenge, they bumped him to the Royal Rumble to take Jason Jordan's spot. And then obviously we saw the tag team match where basically it was a 2-on-1.
Yeah.
So that was another thing, is like we kind of got two handicap matches at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
We got The Bar versus Seth Rollins, and then team Kevin and Sammy versus AJ Styles.
Yeah, which was a very well-worked match. We'll get to that one a little bit later here. So now, moving on to the Men's Royal Rumble from 2018. So for this one, where do I get started? I have not marked out for a result in a match from the WWE main roster in quite a long time. This is something I don't know how many times I've said on the No Gimmicks podcast. I even said it when I was talking to my mentor, James Shadow Man Boone, about a week ago. I wanted WWE to have the balls to go with Shinsuke Nakamura. Let him win the Royal Rumble and let him declare that he wanted to face off against AJ Styles for a rematch from Wrestle Kingdom 10 that I've been wanting to see for the last few years. So WWE, kudos to you for giving me at least what I want. And I think from the reaction I saw from my Facebook post, there's a lot of other people who agree with that. Dale, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, by the crowd's reaction, obviously, is like when it came down to Roman and Shinsuke, but the crowd was into Shinsuke from the moment he entered the Rumble. obviously singing along to his entrance well after he had entered the ring. So very hot crowd for him. And obviously when it was between Roman and Shinsuke, we know how Philly was going to react to Roman Reigns. But I was very, very worried, though, at first because the fact that they had put the men's Rumble at second, I was like, this is a very opportune moment for them to let Roman win because they can quickly transition to another match. You can win the Rumble. It's like they can boo. It's like, but it won't end the show. It's like, and you won't have the crowd overtake it. It's like, and then you can transition.
Right.
But luckily, they let Strong Style win on, and we will get the much anticipated.
Yes.
At WrestleMania.
Yes, sir. Yes, we are. Craig Perkins, the third member of our No Gimmicks podcast team, he's going to be there at that show. And when he told me he was going to WrestleMania at first, I was like, all right, man, cool. Good for you kind of thing. Now I'm like, damn it, Craig, take me with you. Anyways, that one part of the match that you had mentioned when Shinsuke was kind of just like taking on guys one by one, you know, hitting them with the knee strikes and the, you know, the forearms on stuff. And they kind of like had the crowd humming his music in the background. Kind of remind me of a movie I saw, this movie Cradle to the Grave. I don't know if you ever saw it, with Jet Li and DMX from back in like 2003. Yeah. That scene where like he's in the cage and the guys are kind of coming at him, he's attacking one by one. That reminded me of that for some reason. Anyway, so moving on to the next match from Royal Rumble 2018, we had the Usos taking on Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. And this one, it was best 2 out of 3 falls for WWE SmackDown tag titles. Big dislike in this one for me. I did not like the fact that the Usos won 2 consecutive falls, even though I thought the match was well worked. I think Benjamin and Gable should at least have gotten 1 win in. Dale, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was a fantastic match up to the first fall, and then all of a sudden, Usos pick up the second fall, and you're like, what? Match over. I don't know kind of where they're going here with Benjamin and Gable now, because you're like, this was it. This was their they're kind of their are the tag team champions, and now and right now I don't really see so now you're like, where are the Usos brothers? I don't know. It's like, did they get AOP? Is like if AOP shows up, trying to figure out where we go from here. But that's also the thing too, is like, where does Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable go from here? Are they going to separate? Which is not a terrible decision. It's like Chad Gable could go, and obviously we know that Shelton Benjamin can hang on his own as a singles competitor. So it'll be interesting to see if what happens to the tag team of Benjamin and Gable here.
Yeah, because I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I know it's kind of far-fetched because of the whole storyline they have going on right now with Jason Jordan being on Raw with his dad, Kurt Angle. But my goodness, at some point in time, they need to just kind of like forget about the fact that angle ever even happened. Maybe Kurt could say, you know what, son, I think it's in our best interest that we send you back to SmackDown. And in some way, shape, or form, him and Gable form a tag team. And then Benjamin, he can carry a solo career on his own. He's not very solid on the mic, but he definitely has the skills in the ring, yeah, because other than that, I'm not really sure where they go with these two guys if they do, decide to split them up. But moving on here to our first match from Royal Rumble 2018, we had the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, who is the WWE champ, taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a handicap match for the WWE Championship. So my like for this one was we got very strong opening match from 3 of the best in the business. And, it's one of those things where this is most likely not going to be the last time that we see something involving these 3 here, as it was, kind of discovered after the match that AJ did not quite pin the right guy. And coming into this match, I was a little concerned because I just said, it is a handicap match, which is kind of weird. But even though all 3 of the guys in the match definitely, they can hold their own in the ring. I mean, AJ especially, I knew we would get something good. But, yeah, we actually got a very solid match out of these 3. So, Dale, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was going to deliver, and everybody was kind of surprised that this is the match that started the night. But when you kind of discover that Jason Jordan has the back injury, you're like, well, that's kind of why that match was placed where it was. So then the only other match that really could have opened would have been the SmackDown Tag Team Championship 2 out of 3 falls, and the way it was booked, that wouldn't have worked as the opener. So obviously, it leaves the WWE Championship. It has to be the open, and I definitely think that it delivered, and obviously set us up for the hopes that Shinsuke later in the night would win the Royal Rumble, and we would get AJ versus Shinsuke. But again, we've still got to get there, and I don't think we're done, as you said, with between KO, Sammy, and AJ because of the finish.
Yes. And I think it's interesting, too, because this, to my knowledge, is the first time that they actually had the winner of the Rumble actually declare right there on the spot who they were going to challenge. I don't think it ever happened right as soon as the match ended. So that kind of almost made me say, yep, he's going to choose AJ. And the crowd in Philly is just going to go absolutely nuts. So I thought that was kind of a nice touch.
Well, and that was the thing. It's like they were going to have Asuka do the same thing.
Right.
But obviously, as she was getting ready to choose, it's like Ronda comes out. But that was the interesting thing there. It was like, wow, it's like it kind of, I get it's one of those things of, again, everybody knows who's supposed to win, but we kind of feel like when Shinsuke, like 30 seconds after winning the Royal Rumble, so who are you going to face? And he immediately picks a person. It kind of ruins the fact that we're not, this is like that you're supposed to not really know who wins.
Right. It's like, yeah, we knew you were going to say AJ. I mean, come on. It's not like he was going to say, I choose Brock Lesnar. Come on. Anyway here. So for our good, or at least for my good, at least, mine, plain and simple, Roman Reigns did not win the Men's Royal Rumble. Dale, what was your good?
Absolutely. Agreed. It was anybody but Roman to win the Rumble. He's going to end up in the main event against Brock Lesnar. But we'll see. Obviously, he's got some possible DEA investigation. So I don't know. We've got months to see if that works itself out. But we'll see. WWE may or may.
Yep.
It seems like that's the direction they're going, because I would have felt like if they weren't going to do Brock and Roman, featured at WrestleMania and whatever, but they want the passing of the torch match. But again, I'm just glad that they didn't set it up by Roman winning the Rumble. We get Shinsuke, and we're off to the road to WrestleMania now.
Yes, sir, we are. So now for the bad for this one, I had to say, although there were some decent surprises and some good returns in the women's Royal Rumble match, not very much to speak of in terms of men's. We got Ray. It was cool seeing Ray back out there. I had the opportunity to sit down and speak with him last July. Very, very down-to-earth, very cool guy. It's great to see him in that kind of shape as well. And then the Hurricane, that was random. What's up with that? But anyways, Dale, what was your bad for the show?
Well, somebody was like, when the Hurricane came out, it was like, is that our new 205 Live GM?
Don't put it past them.
That's what it's like. So what I saw online, but I don't know. Oh, bad. I didn't really think of one here. I don't know. I was trying to think of a bad. I don't know. I guess the bad would be the fact that the 2 out of 3 falls only went 2 falls.
Yeah, that was definitely a bad, no doubt. Because like I said, it just seems like they would at least giving those guys some more of a fighting chance, on that one. But for my ugly for this one here, I would have to say the obvious ones, man. Some of those shots that were traded between Brock and Braun in that match, man. I mean, those two hit each other like they owed each other money or something like that. Very, very snug between those two there. Dale, what do you have for your ugly?
I don't think we can anything from the Royal Rumble tops that. Is like when you've got a legit knee to the face that gets receded with a knockout punch from Brock Lesnar to Braun Strowman in the middle of the Universal title match, where everything could have just went out the window if Brock legit knocks Braun Strowman unconscious.
Yeah.
So
be lucky that you are 6'8" and almost 400 pounds there, Braun. So now moving on to our favorite part, or your favorite part of the show here, Dale, where we rate WWE Royal Rumble 2018. So on the no gimmicks scale, what do you give this show, Dale?
Well, let's see. It's like NXT Philadelphia was a 4. This didn't come anywhere close.
No.
And I would say, well, it's like we got moments it kind of felt like it was like in the women's rumble. It was like you kind of saw everybody coming. If you watched Raw 25, it was like you knew the women that were going to be in the rumble. Most of them were there. It was like a couple of the extra surprises, I think, would have been Molly Holly and Vicky. I think were the only two that we didn't really see on Raw 25. Nothing kind of disappointing that we didn't get any super surprises in the men's except for Rey Mysterio. I just thought there was a couple wasted spots in there. Obviously, Hurricane, nice to see him back, but yeah. And then Heath Slater's, I guess, is like it was a wasted appearance, but it was kind of funny seeing everybody beat him up as they were coming into the arena. Yeah, I think it's probably just got to be a 3. It was like it was an entertaining Royal Rumble. For that, I don't think there. Everything worked out to where I wasn't disappointed. Had Roman won the Royal Rumble, this would have been a 1.
Thank you. You basically said it all right there with that last sentence. Because of the fact that I marked out the way I did, and you noticed, Dale, a little behind-the-scenes information here, I was having some issues with the WWE Network at the time, and I missed a pretty decent chunk of the Royal Rumble, and the feed came right back in right around the time when Shinsuke and Roman were going into their exchange there when they were the final 2. So I got to see that unfold live. And I'm telling you, I almost jumped up off the toilet. Oops, did I say that on the broadcast? Just so happened I was in the restroom when the feed came back. But anyhow, seeing that alone, plus that there was nothing that I really thought that stunk during the show, I decided to go with a 3.5 for this one. So that's my grade for WWE Royal Rumble 2018. But hey, one thing is for sure, Dell and I sure could sit up here and talk about Royal Rumble 2018 all night long, but we have come to the end of this episode of the like or dislike edition of the Good and Bad, the Ugly. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of No Gimmicks Podcast. We are No Gimmicks, No Image, all wrestling all the time. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment on our videos.
No gimmicks. Yeah. No gimmicks, taking over, no limits. Motivation, the truth inside everything you are hearing. Important live, know you feel it. Wrestling is everything that we will know with special meaning. We on it live with